Capitalism and its impact on Africa, especially with respect to corruption and the erosion of integrity, is a complex and deeply rooted issue. This system, driven by the pursuit of profit, has, in many ways, shaped the socio-political landscape of Africa, often to the detriment of its people and future generations. Below is an in-depth exploration of these themes. 1. Capitalism. A brief overview. Capitalism is an economic system based on private ownership of the means of production and the operation of markets driven by profit. It encourages competition, innovation, and efficiency, which have driven global economic growth. However, in practice, capitalism has often resulted in power imbalances, exploitation, and a disregard for environmental and social costs. The emphasis on maximizing profit can lead to corruption, inequality, and the erosion of democratic principles. 2. Colonial roots of capitalism in Africa. Africa's relationship with capitalism dates back to the colonial era, when European powers carved up the continent in pursuit of resources and wealth. Colonization was a form of economic exploitation, with European countries using African labor and resources to fuel their own capitalist economies. This laid the groundwork for systemic corruption in Africa, as colonial administrators often colluded with local elites to extract wealth while disregarding the needs of African communities. The imposition of capitalist structures under colonial rule was violent and exploitative. Resources like minerals, oil, and agricultural products were extracted for the benefit of the colonizers, while Africans were often forced into labor under harsh conditions. This extractive economic model persisted even after independence, with many African countries remaining dependent on exporting raw materials, leaving them vulnerable to external market forces and exploitation by multinational corporations. 3. Post-colonial capitalism and corruption. After gaining independence in the mid-20th century, many African countries struggled to establish stable political and economic systems. The capitalist structures left behind by colonial powers often remained intact, but without the institutions necessary to regulate them effectively. This vacuum led to widespread corruption, as political leaders and elites exploited the lack of checks and balances for personal gain. In many cases, African leaders formed alliances with multinational corporations, foreign governments, and international financial institutions, allowing them to maintain control over national resources. This often involved bribery, embezzlement, and the misallocation of public funds. Leaders prioritized personal wealth accumulation over the welfare of their citizens, undermining public trust in governance and perpetuating a cycle of corruption. For example, in countries like Nigeria and Angola, vast oil wealth has been siphoned off by political elites while the majority,